Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Today we are going to be talking about how couples can cope with stress during this crisis, okay, during this lockdown. And you're going to learn so many things. Guess who is teaching us today? Coach Tusky, Mrs. Adetutu Osofowora. So she's going to be teaching us amazing things. Listen, I know most of you may not have heard from her, but after this session, you are going to experience a shift in your marriage and in your relationship, whether you're married or not. So stay glued to your screen until this event is over. I plead that you share this particular broadcast with your contacts because you have no idea who it is going to be saving, who the family or the person it is going to be saving. Okay, so once again, I am Dr. Ezine Nnamdi Lewis, your beautiful host. So we are going to be hearing from Mrs. Adetutu right now. Once she comes in, please welcome her, guys. Thank you. Hello, Ma.
Good afternoon. Hello, my sister. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So good to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. You're looking beautiful.
Thank you, Ma. You too.
Thank you so much.
So over to you now.
All right. Hello, dear friends out there. It's good to be here. It's good to have this opportunity to talk to us, to share with us one or two things about how to cope with stress in a crisis situation like this as married couples, even as singles. And so in the next 45 minutes thereabout, I'm just going to be sharing one or two tips with you, going to be opening your eyes to one or two things that we need to observe, also we need to take note of, and certain proactive steps that we should take. Thank you very much again for having me, Dr. Ezine, and for all of us who are out there listening to me from different parts of the world. Now, we are talking about handling stress in a situation like this. So it's good for us to first understand what exactly is stress, because sometimes what we call stress is really not stress. So we need to understand what is stress so that when I begin to feel stressed, I know that this is stress. Do you understand? And when we are talking about stress, basically, stress or a stressor is anything, you understand, that causes a state of strain and tension and discomfort, either physically, emotionally, or psychologically. So any stimuli, any event, any situation that causes or gives you a state of strain and tension and discomfort is a stress or a stressor. So really, when we say we want to learn how to handle stress in a marriage, in crisis seasons like this, basically another way to say it is that how do we handle conflicting or contrary seasons that rises in a marriage as a result of a crisis situation like we have now? That's what we're talking about. But you see, before I go into it, there is a point I would like to bring to our notice. We need to understand what is going on. You know why? Because I say it every time that when you want to kill a tree, you don't remove the fruits. If you remove the fruit of a tree in order to kill it, it's an exercise in futility. If you really want to kill a tree, you go to the roots. You deal with the roots. The moment you deal with the roots, you are able to destroy that tree. It's like going to a hospital and then you tell a doctor, thank God my host is a doctor. You tell the doctor, you say you have headache, you have cold, you feel like vomiting, you have temperature, and you have lost your appetite. When you tell a medical doctor that, You are giving that doctor the symptoms of about 3, 4, or 5 things, including pregnancy. So the doctor is not going to begin to treat you. The first thing the doctor does is to perform series of tests to find out the causative organism that is bringing those symptoms. The moment they deal with the organism, the symptoms will vanish. So we need to understand what is really happening in a lot of homes for us to know how to deal with it. And how do I explain that to you? You see, there is a story that is told of a man who was traveling somewhere and then he got shipwrecked. And when he got shipwrecked, they were saved. So they were by the seashore and everybody was feeling cold, himself and some other members of the ship. And so they went to gather sticks. And when they gathered the sticks, they carried the stick and they brought the stick to the seashore and then they set fire on the stick. The moment they set fire on the stick, they noticed something. A snake ran out of the sticks and then they killed the snake, and that was it. What am I bringing out from this story? The snake has always been in that stick. The snake has always been in that log. It was the introduction of the fire that made the snake to come out. It was not the fire that put the snake there. The snake was always there. But the introduction of the flame, of the heat, made the snake to manifest itself. What am I talking about? Anything that is happening in your home and in your marriage now as a result of this present crisis is only doing 2 things. It is either revealing hidden weaknesses that you never paid attention to as a couple, or it is aggravating what both of you have always known was there. The lockdown and the crisis and the challenges that the world is facing presently is not introducing crisis into your home. It's not the one that is introducing the tension and the stress. No, it is only serving as a catalyst to bring out the issues that has always been between the two of you, to bring out or bring to the surface the weaknesses that has always been inside both of you that either you didn't deal with before the crisis came, or that you were using day-to-day life activities to cover up. Are you following me? So basically, we need to understand that what this crisis is causing in different homes is as a result of the residual factors that has always been in that home. What the crisis is just doing is that it is now the trigger. It wasn't the trigger who put the bullets in the gun. The bullet was always in the gun. The trigger only was a catalyst that pushed out the bullet, outside. So we need to understand that whatever is happening presently is not really new in your home. It was not the crisis that put it there. They have been there, either residually or loudly. So this present situation of lockdown, of pandemic, of stress is just bringing those things to the surface, giving you an opportunity to deal with those things and to face up to them and handle them. And that is why for somebody like me, you see, a crisis situation like this, we pay more singles who are not in marriage. They are at a greater benefit if they are smart, observant, and they pay attention to details. But I will come to singles later. I'm talking to married now. So basically, I want us to understand, because that is the foundation, that is the root, you get it, of all that is happening. It is the crisis is just a catalyst. Now, for us to now know how to handle it as a couple, we need to understand the kind of marriage and couple that we are dealing with. Because it is when you know the kind of marriage you are in, or we know the kind of couple that we are dealing with, that will determine the measures to take. Are you following me? Now, there are only two basic kinds of marriages and couples. All the, different types are under these two headings. We have either a functional marriage or a dysfunctional marriage. It's either we have a functional marriage or a dysfunctional marriage. Now, functional marriages are marriages that their problem is circumstantial and situational. They have a good foundation. The two of them understand each other. They have what it takes. They enter the marriage as people who were qualified to marry. Because you see, marriage is an institution. It is only those who are qualified that should enter it. Part of the problems we have basically about marriage these days is that a lot of people who are not qualified are entering into marriage. So it is immature people that enters into marriage. But a functional marriage or functional couples are the kind of marriage that the two people involved are qualified for marriage. They are emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, physically matured and have the capacity to handle marriage. So whatever is the challenges that they are facing is just circumstantial or situational. But another kind of marriage that we have is what we call dysfunctional marriages. These are the kind of marriages that their problems are foundational and fundamental, meaning that their issues is foundational. They shouldn't even have gone into that marriage. What is happening to them is fundamental. They have a lot of problems unresolved. That's another kind of marriage. And it is the kind that you are in presently that will determine how to handle the situation. So let me start first with functional marriages. I'm assuming that the people that are listening to me, they are a functional couple, they're a functional marriage. They had what it takes before they entered into marriage. They are matured in every way. Whatever challenges that they are facing is just as a result of the circumstance and situation that they find themselves in. Meaning that they have the capacity to make use of what I'm going to talk about. Do you follow me? Beautiful. Now, I'm addressing functional marriages now. What are the causes of stress in marriages? What are the things that this crisis will be affecting? The most vulnerable areas that this crisis is going to bring out issues from. Because it's not in every area, actually. The crisis will only attack vulnerable areas of that marriage and bring out stress from it. So I'll quickly list out those areas. Number one is the issue of temperament differences. In this particular crisis situation, our temperaments are going to really have a lot of challenge, because the way each one of us respond to challenging situations depends on our temperament and personality. For example, people that are naturally active, they like going out, they are result oriented, our cholerics and sanguines that are out there, they are going to really react a lot to this lockdown, because they are just sitting down doing nothing. They are not used to doing nothing. They are not used to being grounded like that. And so if they are not careful, they begin to be tense. They begin to react. They get moody. They are just sparking here and there because their body is not really used to being forced to stay in a particular place for long. And if fortunately, let me say fortunately and unfortunately, they are married to people of calm personalities, which most of them are married to. Most cholerics, most sanguines are married to phlegmatics or melancholies that in themselves they are relaxed. And so this husband who is, active, go-getter, is always on top of his game, is always doing something. He is just marooned doing absolutely nothing. And he's looking at his partner, and she's so calm. She's just taking everything in a stride. There's no big deal about the lockout. She's just enjoying herself. She doesn't see any big deal about it. If the two of them are not careful, there will be tension, because one is going to be reacting to the other and wondering what is going on with you. Don't you know what is happening? And the person is wondering, what is happening? Is anything happening in particular? I'm cool. And then there will be sparks of tension, there will be conflict, because they are reacting to the situation differently by virtue of their temperament. I'm sure this is already happening in some homes, and you are wondering, why is my husband always snapping? Why is she moody? Why is he just going about with his cold off face and reacting to everything? Temperaments could really disturb this situation. Also, financial issues and welfare. The lockdown has grounded the finances of a lot of homes. A lot of breadwinners are having it difficult in this season. And of course, it takes finance to run romance. So if there is no finance in the house, the average responsible husband begins to react. Even the wife begins to react. If there's no food at home, the children are not eating well, everybody's just managing this or that. They cannot even, we have places whereby it's a total lockdown. Nobody can even go out to buy anything. Thank God now, at least they're opening up markets maybe once a week for people to stock. But at the beginning, there was a state where in my own country that for almost 2-3 weeks, nobody could step out of the house. So even if you have your money, you cannot buy things. So finances and the stress that this particular crisis is putting on people's welfare can cause issues. Also, of course, sex is causing a lot of challenges these days, because people seem to have a lot of time in their hands, and so we are having cases whereby couples are having issues with sex. He's demanding too much sex. He's asking sex morning, sex afternoon, sex night. What is the problem? Yeah, why should we always be having sex? One of them is not interested. The other is always demanding, or one is interested but doesn't want to do as much as the other is demanding. And of course, they have a lot of time in their hands. So sex could also be a tension point in this season. And then finally, third parties. And listen, third parties include everyone except you and your partner. Meaning, actually, your children are also third parties. This crisis has made everybody to be at home. The children that normally goes to school, they're at home. The parents that finds time to go to work, everybody is together. Also, we have families that in-laws were staying with them before this crisis and lockdown began. They were hoping that maybe after 2 weeks, the in-laws will go. It is over a month now. The in-laws are still with them. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, daughter-in-law are with them, and everybody is locked down and marooned together inside the house together with the children. And so such a situation indeed can cause a lot of tension, a lot of stress on the husband and the wife. And if you are not careful, you do not take the proper measures, these things could cause a lot of issues, could drive you apart, could cause serious conflict in the homes. So we need to know how to handle it. Let me quickly run through the various measures by which we can handle it. And all these measures are going to be addressing those different causative organisms, or those different factors and parameters that I have just mentioned earlier. The first thing I want you to understand is the power of perception. It's a very powerful and strong way to deal with the present stress. You see, aligned perception often leads to designed reactions. Aligned perceptions often leads to designed reactions. What do I mean? It is your perception of what is happening around you, your perception of what your spouse is doing, that will inform the interpretation you will give to those actions. And it is the interpretation you give to those actions that will eventually determine your reaction. So it is important for us to interpret the stimuli around us properly. So if your partner is calling up his or her face, or being moody, or snapping, the normal thing is to assume the person is attacking you, is to assume it's about you. And that, even minus this crisis situation, it causes a lot of issues at home. when we believe that what our partner is doing is a deliberate action to hurt us. The moment you have such a perception, your response will be different. Your response will be coming from the standpoint of protecting yourself, attacking the enemy in your house, because you see that person as an enemy who is deliberately hurting you. But when you align your perception to understand that no, my husband, my wife is not doing this to attack me, this is a situation whereby, his nature is so difficult for him to handle this situation. He's not feeling okay with it. If you have such a perception, you have such an understanding, your response will be different. You will look for a way to see things from his perspective or from her perspective. The moment you have such a perception, you will not react the same way, because you understand that, oh, it's not his fault, it's not her fault, he's not trying to hurt me, he's not trying to attack me, it's just because, this is difficult situation for him. And then as a good partner, you begin to look for ways to calm him down, calm her down, put a smile on his or her face, and then you buffer the effect for each other. Very important. Another way to handle the situation is that this is the time to talk about a lot of things. You see, the activities of the past has actually created a gap between most couples. Communication is key for the success of any relationship. I say it everywhere that I go, that marriages may be made in heaven, but a successful marriage is not a gift from God. A successful marriage is the result, the reward of two people who are consistently and persistently doing what it takes for that marriage to work. So this is a time whereby you should use this ample time to talk about issues. Over the past, the two of you has brushed a lot of issues under the carpet. You have overlooked it. But it's disturbing you, it's affecting you. Now that the two of you are together in the house and you have so much time in your hands, it is time for you to take advantage of this situation and raise issues. And you should raise them in a calm way. You see, there is a difference between addressing issues and addressing personalities. One of the reasons why it's so difficult for some of us to address issues sometimes is that you are not raising issues, you are attacking the person of your partner. So let me give you an example. There is a world of difference between looking at your husband or looking at your wife and saying, my dear, I feel sad when you talk to me like this. It makes me to feel as if you don't care. When you talk to me like this, it hurts me. That is different between saying you are a very uncaring and wicked husband or you're a very careless wife. Those are two different things. And they are going to elicit two different reactions. Presentation is always the mother of acceptance. The first kind of presentation was presenting an issue and presenting my feelings. The other one is attacking a person. And when you attack somebody, the person, of course, is under his or her right to defend his or herself or attack back. It may not be perfect, but it's just natural. So these are the times whereby you must raise issues. Talk about those things. Few days ago, I raised an issue with my children. And I was amazed at what they were telling me. They were telling me a lot of things in their hearts that I never knew was there. They were telling me times that they battled personal depression. I mean, my generation cannot relate with a 16-year-old saying she felt depressed at a time or the other. And they were telling me how they want me to adjust certain parenting skills. They were telling me how they were put under pressure because of my reputation. I have a reputation out there. And they were telling me that, mommy, the perfect picture that you present is giving us a lot of issues because people look at us and they expect us to behave in a particular way because we are Coach 2 Skills children. And they said, mommy, is a lot of pressure. We are not you. But all this information came out of the fact that we had a heart to heart talk. I just asked them some questions and boom, they started talking. We had not done that in years. So you can, bring up the same thing between you and your partners. This is a season whereby you must use it to credit each other's emotional bank account. Listen, your wife's emotional bank account is with you, and your husband's emotional bank account is with you. Do you get it? Over the months, over the years, those accounts are in red because we have not been crediting it. And listen, love has a diet. When you starve love long enough, it's going to die. So this is a season whereby you should be able to, you have the time to credit each other's emotional bank accounts, feed each other's love languages, and receive feedbacks from each other. That's how to handle this season. That's how to effectively use this season. Before, everybody is busy running around doing this, doing that. I have to, and you have grown apart. But now that you have time in your hands, effectively use that time to feed each other. Also, one of the things you need to do in this season is that you must learn to overlook certain things. It's important. I tell couples before marriage, love must never be blind. Your love before marriage must use microscope, telescope, and glasses like me to peruse future events, magnify issues, see clearly. But in marriage, you have to blinding love yourself. And what I mean by that is that you have to learn to overlook issues. It is not every right you fight for, and it is not every battle that you fight. Sometimes you have to determine whether you want to be right or you want to be happy. Listen to me. Who is giving you a award for being right and for winning that argument? Who has paid you for winning that particular discussion? Who? When was the last time you collected money and you were paid for being right? Nothing. There's no award for being right. Marriage is not a competition between two contestants. No. So sometimes you need to learn to overlook certain things and let them go instead of reacting, because you are now together in a lockdown. Also, one of the things to handle stress is that you may need to now create constructive activities for each other that will make the two of you to be busy but at the same time productive. For example, exchange roles. Do it for the fun of it. Let your husband to go to the kitchen and cook and see what you have been doing. Are you getting it? And you two do some other things that he does in the house. Be putting on the generator and see what that guy is passing through by pulling the generator or doing this or repairing that. There are things in the house that has been let fallow for a while. There's a window net that has removed and you left it. There is no time. There is a particular cupboard that a ledge has removed. But of course, it will have been him that will do it. You too, the wife, pick hammer, pick nails. Let him go to the kitchen. Reverse the roles. Exchange the roles. You understand? Have family film time, whereby you just want to pick a film and it is one person that will pick the film and everybody must watch that film whether they like it or not, and then discuss the film among yourselves. You are whiling away the time, but you are also building each other up. Are you following me? During this lockdown, you should do what we call open day season between husbands and wife. I call it evaluation time. Find time to sit down and then tell your partner your views and your opinion of that person in a nice way. And when you are doing open day, everybody is right. Meaning when the wife is talking, the husband does not have any form of defense. Everything she's saying, she's right. Everything she's complaining about is true. Your work as the husband is to be taking notes. My wife said this, my wife said that. Oh, so you didn't like that. I never knew. You note it down. She says something, then you are telling yourself, but it wasn't like that. But anyway, that's the way she sees it. Note it down. And then the husband too will have his own time when he talks about it and she's noting it down. You get it? Do things like that. Create constructive activities. Now, also listen. People do not understand that it is in a crisis situation like this that you are supposed to update your knowledge. Listen, in this situation that we are in as a husband and wife, read up and update whatever area is your area of specialty. Read up, read books. There are a lot of free online courses going on presently now. Too many of them. Put up for such online courses together. Update your area of expertise. You know why? Because by the time this lockdown is over, life is not going to remain the same again. It is not going to remain the same again. In your field, in your course, in your profession, life is not going to remain the same again. So use this lockdown period to take proactive steps. Go for online courses. Read a lot of books that has to do with what you are doing. I've been doing that for quite a while now. I'm a relationship coach and marriage counselor. Things are going all over the world now, happening. I need to begin to read up so that when this crisis is over and new kinds of cases comes to me, I am equipped. I can handle them. I cannot say, oh, I've never seen this before. Seriously, that can work. So you need to create such constructive activities. Also, deliberately deal with third parties. And how do you deal with third parties? Quickly eliminate sentiments and stereotypes. And that will occur in dealing with the children. You see, this lockdown and crisis will make you to realize how good your parenting skills were before. Because you see, everybody is complaining. The children are eating too much. The children are scattering the house. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, most of the things that your children are doing with you now, they will not try it with their teachers. They are doing it with you because you tolerated it. Are you following me? So you need to eliminate stereotypes. There's a lot of stereotypes going on online now. People are posting different things. This is the way children are behaving now. This is the way they are doing this now. And you too, you are reading that and you are using it as a yardstick. And so you are tolerating your kids to do all those things. No. Set boundaries. Don't allow the children indiscipline to disturb your spouse. A lot of men cannot handle certain things, which wasn't used to before because it wasn't always at home. Now the children are scattering the whole house and then you are looking because you feel, oh, they said the children will scatter the house. No. Set boundaries. Don't give room for sentiments and stereotypes. Let them have fun, but set boundaries and discipline them in the proper and right way. When it comes to the in-laws, there must be what I call taking responsibility and ownership. What is that? Listen, when you have in-laws in the house, I say it every time, there are no in-law problems, only spousal indulgences. It is the owner of the in-law that should handle the in-law. So for example, if the in-law in the house are the parents of the husband or the siblings of the husband is the one that should handle their excesses. You must not give your wife any opportunity to dabble to it. It's your responsibility to deal with your family member and protect your spouse from their excesses. So when you have in-laws with you at such a time, don't wait for your spouse to begin to complain. And even if you didn't observe it and your spouse now complain about one or two excesses, you are the one that should quickly go and handle it, because take responsibility for your people. Also, I will encourage the other partner to be more understanding, because everybody is tense, including your in-laws. Do you get it? So tolerate what can be tolerated. Don't be finicky and unnecessarily picky about things. Understand that this will pass, but the moment you are unable to handle it, it is the person who owns the in-laws that should handle the situation. This is very, very important. Take responsibility for third parties in the home. Also, concerning the issue of sex, well, I hope you are all doing family planning so that we will not have unwanted babies. In the issue of sex, we have a lot of things on our hands now. So it might be important for all of you to go and do family planning if you have not done it before. Because unwanted pregnancies can come in, and babies that the two of you are not planning that can totally change the course of the family and increase your finances can come. So on a lighter note, go and do family planning. That's the way to do it. But at the same time, this is a situation whereby you should now determine what is happening with your sexual life. And when you realize, remember that I said this situation will bring out what has always been there. So this situation is going to make us to realize that, are the two of you good sexually together? If the two of you are good sexually together, for example, the two of you are good sexually. Oh, sorry, I think I mistakenly touched something. Sorry for that break. So like I was saying, if the two of you, I hope you are still seeing me.
We can hear you
Okay.
clearly.
All right. Thank you. So if the two of you are sexually good together, no problem. You are enjoying yourself and stuff like that. But you may discover that being together like this has now brought out the weaknesses that the two of you have. For example, probably one of you has not been enjoying it. And then now, the other person keep asking. Of course, the other person who is not enjoying it, we complain and say, I've had enough. Don't come and kill me. You get it? So if sexually you now begin to discover, I think I'm off again. Can you hear me, Dr. Izini?
Yes, ma. We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear
clearly.
you clearly. It's just that your video
Okay, all right.
not moving. Like we can't see you, talking.
You can't see me again. Okay, all right. Let me see if I can enter it back. What about now? Can you see me now?
We can see you, but it's not. We can't see you talking, but we can hear you clearly.
Okay, all right, good. So I should keep on talking?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
All right, beautiful. So when you now discover such challenges and you are unable to resolve it, the advice I give is that this lockdown and crisis issue is also an opportunity to seek help. Technology has made it easy for us to reach out to people, to counselors, to, upline relationships that have been through what we are going through. And then they can talk to us and walk us through it. So if you discover in this lockdown, in this crisis situation, that you have unresolvable issues, then seek help. Reach out. You don't need to see those people physically. I cannot count the number of couples who have reached out to me in this situation because they're having one issue or the other that the crisis has revealed and they don't know the answers. And so they reach out and we sit down through, this kind of platforms, Zoom, WhatsApp, calls, and the issues are resolved. So in a situation like this, also reach out, seek help, don't keep quiet. So these are the various ways we can handle this crisis situation. Now, quickly, for dysfunctional homes and marriages, I hope we know that presently there are couples that they are in dangerous situations, especially homes that are been experiencing domestic violence. I'm sorry, there is a feedback in what I'm saying that is affecting the way I'm talking. I'm hearing myself, so it's affecting me a bit. So I apologize for that. So in dysfunctional home, depending on the challenge you are facing, if it's a home whereby there is domestic violence, and they are beating up each other, probably in the past, because you don't stay together often, maybe the violence comes once in a while. But we have cases now that because they are permanently together, they are always fighting and they are always violent. And they're always violent and they're always fighting each other and then they're always having issues. In such a case, do not stay in such an environment. Seek help, talk out, and if possible, leave. Seek help and leave. If the environment becomes very dangerous for you, if the environment, becomes a case whereby life is being threatened, do not stay. Leave. This is very, very important. As I'm talking to you now, in Italy, I heard that they are creating welfare houses for, couples who are victims of domestic violence. And they have to go to that place to stay away from the environment of their home that is dangerous to their health and their lives. So in such a situation, leave. Don't stay there for dysfunctional homes. But for dysfunctional homes that there is no danger to life, then use this situation to address what has been causing those issues. And a good way to do it is to seek intervention. Seek professional help, professional counseling. Reach out for professional help. And they will come and resolve issues between the two of you. So by the time the lockdown is over, the crisis is over, you can start afresh and have a better home going forward. Briefly for our singles, this is the time to really discover what your partner is made of. You need to observe the way your partner is reacting and responding to this particular situation. Because a true test of character, a true test of authenticity is time and pressure. When you apply pressure to anybody, the person's real character will come out. So observe the way your fiancé, your boyfriend is reacting to this situation. It is through that you will know what that person is really made of. And you can use that to determine whether you're in a healthy relationship or not. And if it's a relationship you need to do away with. 2 days ago, I broke a relationship because this particular crisis revealed certain things in that guy. And when the lady brought all that has been happening to me, I congratulated her. I made her to realize that the same crisis, the same pandemic that is killing people and destroying people, God has used it to reveal to you the true condition of who you want to marry. They were supposed to marry each other, I think, next Saturday. The relationship had to be broken 2 days ago because it revealed everything that was hidden in that guy. So singles should use this situation to really know what the two of them are made of. I think it's exactly 45 minutes now. So I will
Yeah.
stop and allow questions.
Wow, this session has been so deep, like really, really deep. Thank you so much, Coach Tusky. Guys, please, if you have any questions based on all she has talked about, relationship, marriage issues, please ask it now. This is question and answer time, okay? So ask it now. Ma, I am so, so grateful because all the things you talked about are so deep, like so many timeless information to apply in homes, especially during this crisis. You really touched some areas that we are that is really different from what we used to know. including that of reversing the roles. When we talk about reversing roles, people usually think it's just the guy that should do the things the lady is also doing, but also talking about the
No,
lady
no, no.
do is actually new. I can't wait to try that out, and I believe that other people can't wait to try that out too. So thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, please ask your questions now. Okay, ask your questions now while we are waiting for questions. You
Dr.
can.
Ezine,
Yes, ma'am.
is it possible for you to return me to how we started? What I mean
Okay.
is that the way things are now, as I'm talking, there is an echo of my words coming back. So
Okay.
it's affecting how I'm talking.
Okay.
Do you
Just
get it?
hold on.
When we
What will happen?
started, you
Yes.
just put my face alone.
What will happen is I'm going to remove you now, and you join back again.
Okay, beautiful. I'll do that.
Yes. Just come back with the same link.
Okay.
People have questions now. Okay. So guys, keep sending in your questions. Okay. She's joining us back in few seconds so that we can see her talk and also hear her clearly. Sending your questions on relationship, on marriage. See, please don't keep this information to yourself. Share this to others. Okay, she's back now.
I'm back now. Yes, the echo has stopped.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes. Welcome back. Okay,
Thank you.
so we have a question here. Please, how does finance affect romance?
Yes, I made that statement. I said it takes finance to run romance. All right.
Yeah.
How it affects it is very simple. It is very difficult for you to show love to somebody that you love without giving. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Even though we can show love without giving, but we cannot show love every time without giving something. Do you get it? Let me give you an example. So you are doing your birthday now, and then as you are in your place of work, somebody just walked in with a cake, and somebody came with a sax, and the person is playing music for you, and then they presented the cake, and then they presented you gifts. Somebody paid for all that. I hope you know that. It's not free. And then when you got home in the evening, you met a new gown waiting for you on the bed, one dinner gown like this with petals all around it. And then your husband came in and said, dress up, I want to take you out. And he took you to one nice restaurant. And then, he treated you. It takes finance to run romance. Do you get it? Even if you say, oh, just send a message, a nice text to your wife on her birthday, and then call her, excuse me, you bought the credit. You paid for the data. Do you understand? Love gives. Love gives. You cannot, and I always tell singles, anybody you are going out with who doesn't give to you, no matter how small, does not love you. Because instinctively, love gives. Love gives. So it takes finance to run romance. It doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to run bankrupt to show love. But it takes finance to run romance because you have to spend to show the person you love that you love that person. That's how finance affects romance. And that's why when there is no money at home, have you noticed that everybody is tense? No matter how much we love each other, when there is no money at home, everybody is tense. So that's it. It takes finance to run romance. But of course, we expect that you should understand each other at such times and not put each other under unnecessary pressure. But
So
the
true.
reality is that you need money to take care of each other. It's very true.
Okay. Someone says, well, please, all the points you discussed, are they stress in marriages or problems in marriages?
Or
Marriage, based on the topic.
Based on
How
the topic.
couples can cope with stress in marriage. I need clarity on the topic.
The topic is that how do we handle stress in a season like this?
Yes.
So for you to handle stress, you must first recognize what is causing stress. Stress does not exist in a vacuum. Stress is caused by the introduction of certain parameters in the homes. Do you get it? So we must first know those parameters where stress is entering through. You get it? So those are the parameters I've given you. Remember, I don't know if you started with us, but if you started with us, remember I told you that this particular situation is not creating anything new in your marriage. It is a
Yeah.
catalyst that is bringing out the issues that has always been there, either bringing them to the surface or aggravating them. So those issues are the issues that I listed for you. In the marriage, there has always been temperament issues. The two of you have been having friction because of your difference in temperament. One person is quiet, the other person is not. One person gets angry easily, the other person keeps quiet. It has always been there. Now it is worse because they are forcing you to stay together whether you like it or not. Before, you could avoid each other, go to work, come back 6 p.m. in the evening. So the stress only comes in between 7 p.m. and the next morning. Now, the stress is permanently with you because of your temperament. The same thing with finances, the same thing with sex, the same thing with in-laws. Do you understand? So we are addressing those parameters that bring stress in your relationship. That's the topic.
It's
I hope
very
I,
clear.
I, I hope the
Yeah,
person is clear now.
it's
Good.
very clear. Yes. This question came earlier when you were talking about functional marriages.
Okay.
Says an example of, okay, it's meant to be an example of functional marriages.
Okay.
Example of functional problems of function.
Okay, good. I told you there are two different kinds of marriages: functional marriages and dysfunctional marriages. I said functional marriages are marriages that they have a good foundation. Do you get it? They entered marriage as prepared individuals who have what it takes to run a home. Do you get it? They are matured emotionally, they are matured psychologically, they are matured spiritually, they are matured physically. So such marriages, they are functional. I say it every time. There are no problematic marriages, basically. Marriage has no personality of its own. It takes on the personality of the people that entered into it. So it is human beings that are taking problems into marriage. Marriage has no problem. We carry our various baggages, our various weaknesses. We carry it into marriage. Then marriage develops the problem that we brought into it. So for people who are matured, marriage is not for babies. You're not supposed to marry a child. When you marry a child, you will pack shit because children are supposed to mess up. So if the two of you, before that marriage, you are people that are matured, that has the capacity to handle life and marriage, then your marriage has a good foundation. But that will not stop you from having challenges. Do you get it? But the challenges you will be having are situational or circumstantial challenges that came in as a result of different situations that you entered into. Do you understand? Now, your residual capacity will make you to handle it. Will make you to handle it. Let me give you a graphical example. If you give the key of a Lincoln Navigator to a 3-year-old, I hope you know that you are asking for problem. Because the 3-year-old is going to crash that car, killing himself, the occupants, and bystanders. Now, the 3-year-old is not bad. The Lincoln Navigator is not bad. What happened is that you have given a car to somebody who doesn't have the capacity to handle it. Do you get it? Those are dysfunctional homes. But if you give the same 3-year-old, the same key of a Lincoln Navigator to a 30-year-old or 25-year-old, the person, all it needs to do is to learn how to drive. Once the person has that capacity, the person will use that car for very wonderful things. Do you understand? That is an example of a functional marriage. They already have what it takes to handle life and marriage. The challenges they are having are just growth opportunities, developmental challenges. So when you give them the right information, they have what it takes to use that information to handle the challenges. Do we understand? Those are the differences between functional marriages and dysfunctional marriages. So, for example, if the marriage that is listening to me now is a dysfunctional one, all these things that I have said is not going to make any difference, because they don't have what it takes to do what I am saying. Do you understand? That's why I said for dysfunctional homes, once it becomes life-threatening, leave. But if it's a functional home, what they lack is knowledge. What they lack is information. The moment they hear all I have said, they will go and practice it. They see the results and they're enjoying themselves. That is the difference. So I hope you can get what I'm talking about now.
Yes, this is very, very clear. So someone says functional marriage already has what it takes to handle life.
To handle life, that is it.
Yes. So thank you so much. This is very clear. Then I think I have a question.
Okay, I'm listening.
Like you talked about discussing, like communicating.
Yes.
For instance, the kind of conversation you had with your children. Okay. So in this case, having this kind of conversation with your spouse, sometimes when we want to have such conversation, we don't prepare our minds for the negative parts, we just want to do good things. So how have I been doing? Is there anything you want me to do better? Such that sometimes when the person starts telling us the things we are doing wrong, we may feel offended.
Yeah, I feel bad.
How do we prepare our minds for such situation?
Beautiful. You are the one that you want to find out something. So, number one, you should realize that you need to plan to achieve. Things don't happen in a vacuum at all. Everything that we achieve in life is not by default. A successful life is a designed life. Meaning that when you are going to ask such a question, you should have it at the back of your mind that it's possible I hear something that I don't like. But you should also have purpose. Remember that when purpose is lost, abuse is inevitable. So you should focus on the purpose of the question you are asking. Knowing fully well, it's very possible for me to hear something that I may not like very well. But the question is this: do I want feedbacks? Do I really want to hear the truth? The moment that is at the back of your mind, that's why remember the first thing I talked about was perception. The very first thing I talked about was for you to align your perception. I said aligned perception will always give room for designed reaction. So if you have had the perception before going that, look, I may hear things I don't like, but I need to hear it so that I know what I need to work upon, your perception will change. You understand? Also, the person who wants to give you feedback, I addressed it. I said, talk about issues. Don't attack the person. Because your spouse who wants to hear from you is a human being. The person has feelings. So that's why I made a statement. I said, presentation is the mother of acceptance. The container is as important as the content. If I come to visit you now, and you prepared one of the most delicious dishes of your people for me, and then you wanted to serve it, and you serve it in the toilet potty, I won't eat. The container has made the content of no consequence, of no value. So how we present things to our spouses is important. So you that you are giving the feedback that your spouse is asking you, okay, how have I been behaving? Are there things you want me to work on? When you want to talk about it, put yourself in the position of the hearer and ask yourself, if somebody tells me that you have been behaving in a stupid fashion, will I like that? I will not like it now. So when you want to tell your spouse, don't say you have been behaving in a stupid way. You get it? That is not addressing issue. That is attacking the person. You will not achieve your aim. But if you say something, you understand. If you say something like, oh, my dear, there are some things that you do that confuses me. Of course, you feel she was stupid anyway, but you didn't say it was stupid. You understand? You said
Very important. Yeah.
yeah, there's a way you behave that normally confused me. Okay, for example, now you said you wanted to go out last week to clean the car, but you actually poured water on the car before using the soap. There must be a reason why you did that. I don't understand. You get it? When you
Yes, I love this.
when you say it like that, you are giving the person an opportunity to explain why he did it like that. And you
Yeah.
may discover that actually it was not stupid. Because just because a person is not doing things the way you would have done it doesn't make that person stupid.
Word.
It makes
Yes.
the person different. And if you have an open mind, you may discover another method of doing what you have been doing that is better.
Mm.
Do you get it? So ultimately, it is the person that is giving feedback should not say, because I'm giving feedback, I must talk anyhow. No. Love is about making the other person happy. So as you are giving feedback, give the feedback in a way that is addressing issues, not attacking person.
Yes.
And the person that is also receiving the feedback should be objective, that I may receive some negative feedbacks. You are not a baby. Deal with it. Don't throw tantrum. Do you get it?
Thank you. So clear, like really so clear.
I think
So
there's a
this is the
question
final
there.
question. This is a final question. If one have
Yes.
a phobia for marriage or dating, and your family and friends are giving you pressure to marry, how do one manage this stress?
This question has presented to me two problems. The problem of the person asking the question and the problem of the family. Let me explain. There is a difference between I am not yet interested in marrying, or I'm not ready to marry, or I don't have somebody to marry yet, so I want to live my life. There's a difference between that and having a phobia for marriage. So number one, the person who is also asking this question has a problem. The family are not dealing with it properly. They are removing the fruits. If you remember, I said it, that when you want to kill a tree, you don't remove the fruits, you go to the roots. This question too shines light on a problem of the questioner. Phobia. You are not supposed to have a phobia for marriage. Why are you afraid? So there's a problem we should need to deal with. Marriage is not something you should be afraid of. Listen to me. Because there is a lot of examples of bad marriages, is making a lot of singles to be afraid of marriage. Are you following me? But let me tell you the truth. The existence of fake is the evidence that the original exists. Fake is the evidence of original. If there is no original, there will be no fake. So every time you hear about bad news in marriage, every time you hear about failed marriages, every time you hear about bad stories about marriages, it's an indication of the fact that the people there are not doing the right things. If they are doing the right things, it will succeed. The definition of madness is doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result. The reason why marriages are failing is not because marriage is bad. It's because the two people in the marriage are doing the wrong things. Meaning, if you find out how to do the right things and you do it the right way, it will succeed. I have been married for 22 years. There's nothing wrong with my home. We have our challenges, but I have a very good marriage. So number one, I need to address that phobia. That phobia is wrong. It's a problem. You are not supposed to be afraid of marriage. The reason why you are not married is not the reason why you are avoiding marriage is not because you are afraid. Fear has torment. Deal with it. So I want that person to understand that don't be afraid of marriage. There are a lot of successful marriages out there. Wonderful, awesome marriages. They are working because they are doing the right thing. If you know the right thing to do, if you know how to choose a life partner, if you know the principles of relationship and courtship, your marriage will be wonderful. So forget about fear. I need to handle that. Now, concerning the I call them singles pressure cookers. Are you following me? Because they put a lot of pressure on singles. And they are most times your parents, tradition, society, family members, and friends. And the reason why they do that is because people sincerely believe that marriage is supposed to be, is a sign of success. Are you following me? Marriage is a sign of success. It's a certificate to heaven. So anybody who is not married is not successful. It's nonsense. And what you should do to them is ignore them. Listen to me. You may not be able to stop the bird from flying around your head, but you can stop them from making a nest in your hair. Anybody in your environment who is stressing your life, the person is stressing you because you granted that person access. Nobody can have access to you that you did not grant. So anybody in your life that is stressing you about marriage, pushing you to go and marry the wrong person because they have wrong parameters of evaluating success, very simple, cut them off. Stop allowing them access to your space. When you receive that call from mommy, and the moment she starts talking about where is that man, just press Control Delete and send a message to her. Mommy, I caught the call because you are pressurizing me about marriage. If you want us to keep talking, you need to stop talking about marriage. I'm fine. I'm not interested in marriage now. When I'm ready, I will let you know. Friends and family members that talk to you about marriage alone, stop going to them. Stop coming to people like me that will not stress you about marriage. Listen, you need to discover purpose. One of the reasons why people have issues is because people think marriage is the cure for loneliness. Listen to me. There is a difference between loneliness and aloneness. Aloneness is a situation whereby somebody is not with you. Loneliness is a condition of the mind that tells you because you are alone, you are not successful. Are you following me? And marriage does not cure loneliness. You are lonely because you are purposeless. Loneliness is an indication that you have not discovered purpose. When you have discovered purpose for your life, 24 hours of a day is not enough for you. I don't like saying it online, that lockdown has not made me bored. I don't understand when people say they are bored. How can you be? I can't be bored. I'm too busy following my purpose to be bored. Listen, when you say things like you are marrying your better half, that's what causes problematic marriages. You are not supposed to be a half individual looking for somebody else to complete you. No. Your spouse is supposed to complement you, not complete you. You're not supposed to live a life whereby you cannot live without your spouse. Don't be happy that your spouse is the only person that makes you happy. You have a problem. You are supposed to be a complete individual, purposeful individual. Your spouse is supposed to come into your life as a partner to complement you and make purpose achievable for you. The problem is that people go into marriage expecting marriage to solve their problems. No. If you don't have the capacity to live your life and solve your problem before you marry, you are going to put your spouse under unnecessary pressure, making unnecessary and unreasonable demands of them, which they are not, equipped to do. There is no single human being who is capable of solving the problems of your life. No. You must develop the capacity to create solutions out of life by yourself. When you understand these things, even if you are not married, you are not under pressure. You are following your purpose. And hear me finally. It is actually in the process of following purpose that the right kind of person will be attracted to you. If you really want to marry the right kind of person, follow purpose. Because that person is also a purposeful person. And the person will be attracted to you because he can see that, man, this is somebody going somewhere to do something. If you do not follow purpose, you will always attract liabilities. People who have emotional issues who is looking for somebody to help them out, that person will be attracting. But if you follow purpose, even if the person has not come, you are not lonely, you are not sad, you are following purpose. And over time, that person will come. So we need to understand that is our mindset we should deal with, and then do not give attention to single pressure pots. Don't give them attention.
It's
Thank you.
really hot here. It's really hot. Wow. Thank you, guys. What do we have to
It's
say
my
to
pleasure.
Turkey? Wow, it's been so amazing.
It's my
Like,
pleasure.
I need to rewatch this video again. I really need to rewatch it. Wow. Someone has another question, but it's already 10 minutes extra. I don't know. Should you take this last question?
So, it's okay.
Okay.
I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind
Oh,
if you don't mind. It's okay.
awesome.
It's okay.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. Anger is one of the reasons people overreact in most marriages, which also causes stress. Please, how do you handle anger?
Okay. Beautiful. I will be frank enough to tell you that marriage is not the place to handle anger. That's the truth. Under normal circumstances, you are not supposed to marry an angry person, because one of the basic signs of emotional immaturity is inability to handle your temper. It is children that throw tantrums. It is children that wants to have their way and react when they are not allowing them to have their way. In fact, as a single that is listening to me, the seed of domestic violence is anger. If you meet somebody who is unable to handle their temper, who is unable to handle their anger, do not marry. You will be marrying a child, a baby. So the first thing we need to understand is that really, ideally, marriage is not the place to be handling anger issues. It is not in marriage that you are supposed to be, doing anger management class at all. You should have settled it before marriage, because handling the ability to handle your temper, the ability to handle your anger is part of emotional intelligence, which you should have achieved before joining yourself to another person at all. Do you get it? So for those of us who are singles here, if you have not attained emotional intelligence and ability to handle your anger, you are not qualified for marriage. Sorry, you are not qualified for relationship. Don't enter relationship at all. Go and grow up. Attend anger management classes. Deal with your anger issues before you go into relationship. But the truth is that we now also have marriages that already one of them have that particular weakness. How do you handle it? Please be accountable. If truly you are interested in changing, then deliberately take responsibility for your weakness. Apply for anger management classes. Do you get it? Apply for anger management classes. Seek help. There have been issues, there have been people who have been in your situation before. There is a way they overcame it. Look for people like that. Don't sit down and be saying, this is the way I am. You must accept me for who I am. No. We cannot accept you for who you are. If truly you know you want to change, you must take proactive steps to change. You understand? When you are exposed to knowledge, exposed to wisdom, exposed to how you should talk, how you should handle it, you realize that over time you get better. Now, also, the spouse of the person that has anger issues, please, don't be goading them. Don't be deliberately doing things that makes them angry. You already know the areas that are trigger points for your partner. That is why you are supposed to be a helper. Avoid such things. There are some people, what makes them angry is arguments. They really, really hate arguments. If you are a partner to such a person, don't make it your own life vision to always argue with him or her. That's not fair. That's not good enough. You understand? Don't do that. Reduce situations that will bring arguments, while the person is also working on that weakness. So you understand? It is a two-way, it's a double-edged sword. The partner should assist by making sure that you do not introduce regular stimuli that triggers the anger. But at the same time, the person too should go for anger management classes. The person should have accountability figures in their life whereby you can report yourself to. oh, my uncle, I always get angry, and I know that you help me. What can I do? So they talk to you. They give you assignments to do. Your wife or your husband can report you to them when you start your noise. You understand? And then when they call you and say, sit down, they say you are making noise in the house again. What is causing the problem? And then you talk to them, and then they give you clues. They give you how to avoid it. Remember that over time, everybody gets better. Everybody gets better. So in such a situation, that's what you should do. But I'm going to say this. I'm not going to hide it. If the anger problem of your partner has graduated to physical violence and life-threatening issues, please separate. Don't stay. Don't stay. Because if you stay, there will be casualties. Either the victim will become a murder victim. That is one of these days why the victim is trying to defend his or herself. He kills the person that is always doing the beating, or the person that's always doing the beating will eventually kill the victim. So the moment the anger issues get to a point of physical violence, regular, I say it, once may be a mistake. Twice is a repetition. 3 times is a pattern. The moment violence becomes a pattern, don't say, I love him, I want to stay to help him. I love her, I want to stay to help her. The proper thing to do is to create the social distancing. You should really do social distancing in that situation. You understand? One of you should leave until the person is able to handle the issue and get better. Don't stay there and die. It's not wise. That is it.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. How you just answered this question is so clear. Everyone should hear this. Thank you so much. Guys, what do we have to say to Mrs. Adetutu? Please, what do we have to say to her? Let's appreciate her, because this session is so timeless. Like, it's so wonderful, so much value that when we apply it in our families, or even for those that are yet to be married, who avoid some costly mistakes in this life, because marriage is a huge decision, a very major decision in our lives. So it can make our future. Okay, so please, guys, what do we have to say to her? And while we are writing our appreciations, Ma, please, can you tell us how we can contact you in case anybody needs further help?
Okay, my number is 080 378 40860. 080 378 40860. Also, my Facebook is my name, Adetutu Osofowora, and that's also my Instagram handle, Adetutu Osofowora. Adetutu Osofowora. That is it. Okay. And my Facebook, that is my name on Facebook.
Okay. This is your number?
Yes, that's my number. Sorry. That's my number.
Okay. And your Adetutu Osofowora.
Yes.
Okay. And this is how you can contact her on Facebook. Okay.
Yes.
So don't forget, you can reach her on this number. It's a Nigerian line, +234 80378 40860, and then her Facebook name is this. So, okay, thank you so much. So many people are writing a lot of appreciations. You really ironed out so many issues I never knew. Much love.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A lot of thank you.
Thank you.
We are so grateful for the extra time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So, guys, remember, we are going to have our session this evening by 7 p.m. with Chess Moulton, the Vice Chairman of National Association of Psychologists, Hypnotherapists. Okay, so please don't miss this. He will be joining us from UK. He's Canadian anyway. He will be joining us from UK for from 7 p.m. Nigerian time. That's GMT +1 to 7:30. From 7:30, I'm going to be teaching us something amazing, a timeless concept that will help you to enjoy peak productivity without losing your sanity. Listen, this one is not on Google. So if you miss it, I am sorry, I cannot help you. So 7 p.m. is a date tonight. It is really going to be amazing. Tell others and invite your friends, okay? So thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go and implement. Bye-bye.